tillage and secondary tillage. What I mean by the tillage, first the tillage is a mechanical manipulation of the soil. Okay, and it is useful for the seed bed preparation. So the main implement of the primary tillage, dear student, is a plough used for ploughing the operation. So what you mean by the ploughing is a primary tillage operation which is performed to cut, break, and invert the soil partially or completely. And ploughing is essentially means opening the upper crust of the soil, breaking the clods, and making the soil suitable for sowing the seeds. Okay, okay. Now, the what are the objectives of the primary tillage to obtain the deep seed bed good texture and to increase the water holding capacity of the soil and to improve the soil aeration and prevent the soil erosion and again to destroy the weeds, grasses, insect, pests and to add the fertility to the soil by covering the vegetations. So this is the purpose of the ploughings. Now types of the plough. So there are different types of the plough, but now the indigenous plough is a bullock operated indigenous plough. Then soil turning plough, that is moldboard plough, is called in short it is called the MB plough. Now another is the disc plough and other ploughs also. So this is the indigenous plough, or we can say it's a country plough. So you can see this is a part of the handle is a part of the country plough body, then shoe and shear point. That shear point penetrated into the soil, and this is the pole and shaft you can see here. The indigenous plough is mostly commonly used in this country, and the shape and size of the plough varies with the places and regions due to the variation in the soil types, tillage requirement, and the main parts of the plough are the that is the body, shear, shoe, beam, and handle. So body it is the main frame to which the shoe, beam, and handles are attached. Shear it is a narrow steel bar attached to the proper surface of the shoe and longitudinally along with the center line and protecting the slightly out. And the shoe beam and the handles are generally attached to the body of the plough. And the shear is attached to the shoe which penetrates into the soil and breaks it open. And the shoe is also helps in stabilizing and balancing the plough while in operation. And the plough is provided with a wooden beam and handle. So now the second is the soil turning plough, that is moldboard plough, and the animal drawn plough, that is fixed type, one way plough and two way plough. And the second is the reversible or turn-wise type, and another type is a tractor drawn MP plough. First it is on the source of power, that is animal drawn and tractor drawn. Then animal drawn is fixed type, that is one way and two way, and reversible or turn-wise plough. So a reversible or turn-wise plough you can see in a diagram, that is the MP plough, moldboard plough, and this is single bottom. You can remember that this is single bottom MP plough. This part is called as a beam. You can see here this part is called as a beam. This is the handles, this is moldboard, and this is called as the shear. Okay. The reversible turn-wise type MP plough having a single plough bottom with an arrangement to change the plough bottom from right hand to the left hand by rotating it through approximately 180 degrees about the longitudinal axis. And the MB plough, what is the function of the MB plough? It cutting the furrow slice first. It cutting the furrow slice of the soil. It lifting the soil to the one side. It turning the furrow slice and pulverizing the soil. These are the main functions of the MB plow. So what are the parts of the plow? You can see here the beam. That one number is a beam. Then two number is a each point. Three each point. It is tractor operated when it is added to the 3-point linkage of the tractor. And then three is called the height regulator. Four is called the coulter. It is in front of the plow. Then fifth one is the shear point. That shear point it penetrated into the soil. Then six is the shear. Shear is stabilizing the furrow slows. And seven is the mold. It turn that soil on the surface of the mold or pulverize the soil or turning the soil. This is the two bottom mold flow. It is tractor operated. You can see this part is attached to the top link of the tractor, and this part is attached to the bottom link of the tractor. This part is called as the shear point. This is called as the land side. This is called as the you can see here the shear. This part is called as the shear. This part is called the shear, and this part is called the land side. So moldboard flow it involves the soil, turn the residue under the soil surface. This is a single bottom MB flow. So what are the different parts of the moldboard flow? First is the shear. You can see this is part is called the shear, and this is called the land side. This is called the prop, and this is moldboard bow, and this is called the tailpiece and other accessories. So again, this diagram shows the different component of the MB plow. So dear student, you can see here this part is the shear point. This is a cutting edge, and this is a shear. This is wing of shear. This is gunnel of shear. This is called the sheen, land side, land hill. This is called the brass, props, moldboard, and wing of the shear. And this is called the beam. So, dear students, here you can see the part of the shear, how it look like. This is a gunnel or point of shear. This is shear. This is cutting edge of the shear. This part is the wing of the shear. Now shear, it is the part of the plow bottom which penetrates into the soil and makes a horizontal cut below the surface. And material of the shears are made up of the chilled cast iron or steel. The steel mainly contains the 0.7 to 0.8% carbon and about 0.5 to 0.8% manganese beside the minor element. So component of the shear point, it is the forward end of the cutting edge which actually penetrate into the soil. Cutting edge, it is the front edge of the shear which makes the horizontal cut in the soil, and it is believed to some distance. Wing of shear, it is the outer end of the cutting edge of the shear, and it supports the plow bottom. Now gunnel, it is the